Welcome. This is David Bowles, Human Meme. Today's topic, recording Unreality. You know, it's funny. We live in a recordable society. I am recording this podcast for you, and you know that, and I know that, and it's prepared, and you are prepared to listen to what I share. We don't have any privacy any longer, anywhere we live. We live in a panopticon, where everything we see and do and feel is tracked and recorded. But beyond that bitter lack of privacy, we also need to have the filmmaker's eye and the artist's taste, and we must always ask ourselves why and how was that certain thing, video or audio, that we just viewed or listened to online, why did that particular thing just happen to be recorded and shared? Who was doing the recording? For example, a short while back there was a viral video that exploded online. A young child was video recorded helping an old woman using a walker climb up a set of stairs. Oh, there was a lot of oohing and awing over that particular video online. However, when you stop to think about it, and you realize what an emotional setup and manipulation the whole thing really was, when you stopped for a moment to dissect what happened, on a timeline context of this had to happen first before that could happen, before it could be recorded. Well, first we wonder, why was that scene being recorded in the first place? How did it come to be? What was the purpose? Well, it's clear. The mother of the child instructed the child to go help the old woman. So she, the mother, could record her son in action for release and praise on social media. Instant virtual signaling via the directed helpfulness of her son. Well, the whole thing was stilted and awkward when you paused to think about it, because the old woman didn't really appear to need any help. The scene screamed of the son being directed and rehearsed and practiced by the mother, and you could hear her, off camera, doing the video, recording, instructing her son how to act and what he should be doing. And so, we have to ask, if not for the camera, if not in that time and place, would that scene have happened if there was no camera? Or was it all set up to be recorded? Well, it was set up to virtue signal, to get human compassion points scored for the young boy, and, of course, by default and association, the mother of the young boy who just happened to be in the perfect position to catch the moment, right? Yeah, right. Complete and total fakery. And you know this, because if it were real and authentic, a moment of a young man helping an old woman, it would not have been recorded. It would have happened too quickly for it to be so professionally recorded and then propagated online for praise and likes. And that moment between the two of them would have remained a private moment between the son and the old woman. And if it were really real, well, that moment just might have meant a little something more than it did to the both of them. But, as it turned out, all just a bad attempt to win internet points for, quote, doing the right thing, unquote. And now, my human meme friend, let's continue thinking back in our shared history of what we've seen and known. What do you make of the viral video of also an elderly, but this time elderly, ballerina with dementia. And we see her sitting in a wheelchair in what appears to be a nursing home. Music mysteriously begins to play in the room, and while being recorded on video, the ballerina magically rises from her wheelchair. Dementia long gone and forgotten, and she begins to sway to the music. She begins to dance. Why? Why was that being recorded? For what ultimate purpose? Well, I'll tell you why. It was for exploitation, not celebration. Was it a real event or not? Was it staged or not? Well, we know the answer, but I guess it really doesn't matter because the premise of it all was deceptive and cruel. If we were to really believe that ballerina had dementia and was momentarily brought out of that dementia by music and muscle memory of her youth, well, isn't that a terrible thing to exploit in public? By recording it and making her perform, and then releasing it to the public on social media. What kind of human monster would plan to record and then exploit that private, intimate moment by pushing it on the internet? And again, my human meme friend, if the situation happened to be real, a woman with dementia, dancing like a ballerina, well, she, with dementia, cannot consent to the release of that video. And so we must know those around her, her caretakers, doctors, nurses, friends, family, whatever, whomever, those encouraging her to somehow perform for this video, are the culpable masters of a tasteless effort to exploit the aged and the disabled, all merely for internet likes and advertising click-through revenue. Shame on all of them. And also, don't be fooled by these viral videos where someone you see on video just happens to be coming out of a window, and they're recorded. A man escaping out a high-story window, climbing down to the street to avoid the husband of the woman he was seeing on the side in her bedroom. Too convenient. Too perfect. Yes, of course, that's the ruse. That's the game they play against your goodwill. It's all for show, for advertising, for money. Advertising pays. Fakery doubles your money. And here's another thing for you to consider in this unreality being recorded. There's now this new technological wave of the drone flyover. Now, you've seen these videos of a drone flying high and then flying into a window in a house or into a bowling alley or along a golf course. And those drone shots are just as rehearsed and as phony as the young man and the old lady and the ballerina and everything else we've just discussed. Oh, sure, we know the drone footage is happening in a forced, real-time reality, and that does not make it interesting or spectacular. It's just a mechanical showing off. The people making the video and the people who are in the video with the drone flying close to their heads, they all know what's happening because the people move out of the way of the drone to make room for the drone to fly by. So what's the point of it? Why bother recording that kind of performative drone footage anyway? Why pretend that it's a real happening and a just-in-time recording of a natural event? when it is not. It's all just a promotional showing off without any real human connection or feeling. It's a false accomplishment via drome against an untrue composition. Now let's move on to the real pro recorder, the fakers. Oh, you know them. They're all over television. Reality television. And you know and I know all those shows are always set up scripted fake. The fights you see are reenactments by bad actors. And we all sort of already know that, right? And so now, together, we must ask about the next step in the chain. On a reality show, why would anyone really behave like that in real life? Except to show off and record Unreality for TV show profit. And it makes a terrible mess for everyone involved. Why would any real and thoughtful person ever consent to being recorded in that real way when they know they are acting like human garbage? Are people really that desperate for fame and negative attention? And if we don't believe they are awful, then they have failed to entertain us. They have failed to break through the fourth unreality wall. They have failed. And so what does all that fakery say about those of us who watch that hot fake mess and are then entertained by that bad behavior? Better them than me? Is that it? Well, it's a moral mess that does not deserve your rapt attention. And what about these trick TV shows? They are also a lesson in reality and reality sleaze, recorded, all of it. You've seen the hidden camera prank shows that make fun of good people, kind people trying to help other people. And the person in need is just acting out a part. Those shows never show the bad, nasty people who refuse to be part of the show. Oh no, those shows only pick on the kind-hearted, who are nice enough to stop and help a stranger. And for that kindness, they are paid back in mockery, laughter, and loathsome behavior, all along with a dollar release sign. It's all a disgusting mess of the human condition, where the only thing that matters is the staking of a laugh to stave off the decay of human decency, all from the side that is recording those kind of people for profit. Virtue signaling becomes a virtual asset and a complete assault, an assault against our own goodness by those seeking virtual attribution, stealing virtue from innocent others by setting up a false narrative to win social media likes. And sure, everyone probably gets paid in the end, but is that enough? And my human mean friend, as we try to wrap our heads around this, don't get me started on the Linda Tripps of the world, who audio record other people to get their alleged friends in trouble. Oh, you know that personality type. They want to be important, they want revenge, and they know they are recording you while you do not know you are being recorded. And so they are on their best behavior, while they try to make you look like a fool by baiting you and leading the discussion, all the while pretending to be your friend so you'll open up and share. Well, here's some good, if paranoid, general advice from me to you about how to get along in modern society, how to live in the panopticon. Never admit to anything. Never lose your temper. There you go. It's just that simple. If you never admit, you never get angry, you're not worth monetization. Just disconnect. Cut off everyone and everything. Leave behind no record for others to exploit. Or you could just always be boring with people you do not really know or trust, and never perform for the whims of a stranger you meet on the street. You'll always be sorry in the end for being real on an unreal recording of what is supposed to pass as the truth on the street. And we do see that street grabbing in the gotcha stalking of one crazy politician after another harassing another. One records with impotence but with a purpose, while the other politician runs the opposite way from the camera. A story is then crafted, falsely fashioned on television for the news, of the captor and the captive, as the hunter races from the hunted, to score a Pyrrhic victory for the evening news. Don't believe any of those staged events. They are unreal and very planned. There is nothing natural or honest about a stalking horse video. And soon, my human meme friend, we are going to have to deal with the deep fake video. They're already sort of here. That will star us and famous people doing things we've never done. None of us were even there when we allegedly did something. And yes, that's big trouble, because right now people cannot tell the difference between a faked and a staged recording against something that actually authentically happened. Dash cam crash footage is probably the only reliable reporting recorder we currently have in the Panopticon, doing some good in our lives. But beyond that in-car inevitability of impartiality, at least so far, we must deal with people who not only believe their eyes, but who also prefer to believe the lie over the truth. Politicians will take the hardest hit from the deepfake videos, where bad people put good people in videos, where they never were but suddenly appear, just to win a political point, and never a universal human ideal. And yes, we are all in trouble when unreality becomes the reality of record. And we're sort of already right there, right now, and I don't see a way out of it. Unless, of course, we choose to record ourselves, video and audio, every waking day of every cogent moment, just so we can later prove we were not there when someone else falsely places us there via a real-life recording that was edited to lead people to think something else. And even if we record every moment of our day, there will still be those around us who refuse to believe us. They only want to know the intimate lie. And that's when the recording stops and the unredeemable damnation begins. Thank you for listening. Be a human meme.